Welcome back to the All In Podcast. I'm Kahlil Calloway here with Tyshaun Dukes today. Mr. Dukes, we have a lot to discuss.
Yes, sir.
I feel like I don't think I've ever sat down and had a conversation about your basketball career as a whole, because I feel like we talk about the game a lot. We've never really talked about you a lot, but that's what the show's about. It's called the All In Podcast, trying to get all in, trying to tell everybody's story and see when they were really locked into the game of basketball, game of football, whatever their game that they love and passion is. This is it, the first time you guys are going to be seeing Ty. He's going to be on most of the basketball episodes when he can be. You know, he's a very accomplished athlete. This dude could ball. This dude could hoop. So, Ty, how you doing today?
Man, I'm just excited. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, you know. We usually not this professional, but I guess we keeping it professional for now until we get the real guests coming in.
Yeah, we got.
I don't even know how that's gonna get for real. But real quick, I want to date back here. When did you know basketball was for you? Because you're a tall guy, right? So when did you know that basketball was really something you loved instead of it just being thrown to you?
Well, I actually picked up the game really late, honestly. Well, I would say later than most people. My first love was actually football. My first couple of years when I started getting into sports, I was playing football. I played in Pop 1 of football in Newark. I played for the Central Ward Chargers, and I played football up until I want to say about 11, 12. And the first time I actually picked up a ball was 8 years old, but I didn't really play for a team until I was about 12, 13 years old. And that was when I was at St. Benedict's, and that was my middle school year. So I picked it up pretty much late, and, I just loved the game ever since then.
So, football, right? What did you play in football? What position?
I played center. I played a lot of.
Yo, that's the second time. Yo, Elijah Lilly came on here, and they put the man at center. I don't understand this.
So it was really interesting because it was different. So when I was playing in Pop Warner, it was a weight limit. So you had to have certain stuff. So certain people that was over a certain weight, you had to play at certain positions. So
wow.
So at the time I was 125. I was still a youngin', but I was 125. So you had to play the line.
Right.
And there was certain times where it's if you didn't make weight, you couldn't even play in the game. Yeah. So it was. I remember my first time that I played. Well, the first game I actually didn't suit up because I didn't make weight, and then the next week I actually made weight. So I was always one of the heaviest on the team. So I was forced to play center and things like that. So it wasn't by choice. It was what I had to do.
Now, grew up really in EL, right? Would you say?
I grew up mainly in East. I grew up in Irvington and Newark mainly. East Orange was more so my grandmother. I did grow up in East Orange too, but that was really mainly with my grandmother and my dad. But I grew up mainly in Irvington and Newark with my moms and my stepdad. And then after that, I didn't pretty much move into West Orange until high school, so I was always around that area. So I came around here late.
Now, starting the game 12, 13, did you just pick up the game easily? Did you train with people? What was that kind of – how did it all start?
In terms of that, I can't even say I had a trainer or anything. I just honestly just picked up the game. I remember one time I went to St. Leo's in sixth grade, and I remember we was just playing open gym, and I was I can remember this it was yesterday. So we was in open gym, and we was playing pickup or something crazy like that. And it was all these people that used to hoop ever since they was in second, third grade and stuff like that. I remember we was getting a little pickup game, whatever. I had 16. We was playing a game of 21. I had 16 points. Just doing random stuff making jump shots and this, that, and the third. And somebody that was playing varsity, which was 8th grade, was oh, wow, you might be all right. And then, ever since then, he gave me that vote of confidence. I forgot what the kid name was, but he gave me a vote of confidence. Ever since then, I played. Well, honestly, too, it was during 6th grade, I think that was my last year of playing Pop 1 of football because it was a certain age limit, so it was certain groups. So it was between 12 to 13, and then something actually happened after that year. So after my 6th grade year, I was gonna play in 7th grade, but I forgot, I think the team didn't have enough players or eligible players. So and I just converted into basketball, and ever since then, I loved it since.
Now, confidence, right? I feel like when we talk about Jersey ball, like I've kind of started to get familiar with the street ball, right? Went out to an event called Judgment Day. I told you about it. Smooth Joe, Mel, Scoob, obviously, Zell, all those guys.
Yeah.
But Zell, I know you're very familiar with. Played a little football with you.
Yeah, he was actually my first year of playing. He was actually he was a quarterback actually. He was the quarterback. Coach Haas, that was our first coach. That was our head coach. And he was the quarterback. And I remember that was the first year Central Ward Titans actually made the playoffs. When my first year there, the first time in like team history that we did that, and we made the playoffs. I think we lost that game, but then the next year when I came back, started at center, we won our first playoff game. So. Yeah, I've known a lot of people, like a lot of people that I play ball with now or like know from ball. I've known from my childhood, but it was like I didn't really reconnect with them. I didn't notice until, I'm like.
Right, because I was going to say, I mean, like Denzel Banks, NJCU alumni, made the similar transition to you, right? I mean, going from football, right, playing quarterback, and then transitioning into the game of basketball. For you, when did you know that football maybe wasn't it and basketball was? Was it the vote of confidence, or was it more of just like the age limit and you were just like, all right, I'm done with football. I got nothing more to prove?
Well, I think it was more so like, I wouldn't even say that was by choice. It was just like more of a natural growth because, like I said, growing into sixth grade, after sixth grade, I went to St. Leo's in Irvington, and then seventh grade, I went to St. Benedict's. I transferred into St. Benedict's, and they didn't have a football team, and then that was the time where I think stuff happened and I wasn't able to play. So I tried out for the basketball team my seventh grade year. I actually didn't make it my seventh grade year at Benedict's because that's when they went to a middle school. It transferred to a middle school. So when I was going there, it was like originally like a high school from 7th and 12th grade. And then the year I got there, they moved it from like 7th and 8th grade was middle school, and then high school was 9 to 12. So I didn't make it my first year, and then that year I just pretty much just worked on my game and things like that, and then. 8th
now,
grade year.
St. Benedict's, I would say, is a very legendary school, especially with the game of basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about your time there and kind of what you learned.
Well, that really got me into the basketball scene. Like going there, like those 2 years, 7th and 8th grade, it was like crazy. Like the first year I was there, like actually both years. The first year I was there, I was seeing Tyler Ennis, Isaiah Briscoe, and that was like the backcourt that they had there. And watching that high level basketball, and then Coach Taylor and things like that in varsity, and then going to the games, like being a youngin'. And we didn't have to pay for it. We was just in there and things like that because we was at the it's called the Leahy Gym, which we call like the newer gym, and where the 7th and 8th grade building was, the gym was like right underneath it. So we'd just go downstairs right after like the games be at like 7 o'clock. We'll just go there, watch the games. It was like, oh, it's not like this high level basketball.
High level basketball.
Yeah.
Man. Like Jersey basketball is probably one of the most high level basketball. Tyler Ennis, Isaiah Briscoe.
Yeah, like
when I hear Isaiah Briscoe, I feel like that was the first guy I heard that kind of put Jersey basketball on the map, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I guess you could say that to like a larger thing. I think when I was there, like I said, like I was around a lot. It was like a lot of guys, so it was like being just like just around those type of people, like, and just seeing that, being in that atmosphere and being in that space, because it wasn't just them. It was a lot of great hoopers that was there at St. Benedict's, and it was like, you had to sink or swim. And that, my first year there, like I said, I was new to the game, so I was getting my ass busted. Like I ain't even gonna lie. Like I remember I was playing with. So seventh grade, I was playing with like the older guys. Like we'll be in the summers and stuff like that. We'll play in the old gyms and things like that, getting open runs. And I'll try to hang with them, bro. I couldn't hang with them fellas. I was getting killed. And then I just had to learn from that. And like my vote of confidence, like it had to grow. Like I had to learn, like getting my ass killed. And then so once 8th grade year came around, that's when Javon Quinterly, Luther Muhammad, like they came in there to St. Benedict's.
Dogs.
Yeah, and I was before they had the fame. So them, a kid named Angelo, a kid named Jorge, like it was, and Tyler Ennis, Briscoe was on varsity, Jonathan Williams, Michael Young, like it was a lot of hoopers like there. And then playing that 8th grade year, and playing that middle school team, like it was crazy. Like, and going up against that type of talent, like it was like iron sharpened iron. Like, yeah, it was like one of the worst players on the team. Absolutely, I ain't even going. I'm not scared to admit that. But I didn't get that much playing time. But just being on the team in general, like being on my first ever team officially, you know, it was a real good learning experience, and you know, being on the roads with them, and now knowing what they became, it was like I kind of look back at it. It was like that's kind of like the best thing that happened to me,
I was
honestly.
gonna say that because when I was talking to Elijah, he was talking about how in 6th grade he had an option to go down or go up. Could have went down, but he decided to go up and go 7th and 8th. In your situation, it's more that you're new to basketball. And do you think your height played a factor in tryouts at all? Like, I know you're new to the game, but like just to give everybody a perspective, like, could you hoop? Like, cause I know now you could hoop, right? But like at that time, could you hoop, or was it more just the height and the advantage of being taller than everybody else in time?
Nah, I wouldn't even say that because even then, like, you gotta remember, I was at Benedict's. Like, that's Benedict. It's not like a random like middle school or things like that. No disrespect, but it was like, bro, that's some of the top athletes that was there. Like, I just say them two. Like, shout out Justin Winston. Like, it was he was there before then. Like, and at the time, like these guys were still like. We had 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" bigs, and I was in 8th grade, and at the time, I was only like, what, 5'9", 5'10" at the time, and getting cut my 7th grade year, like, and shout out to Leandre Washington, he was there in my 7th grade year, too, so it was a couple people like them, too, so, you know, going through all that talent and, like, actually having a year to actually get better and actually adjust to the game, it took my 7th grade year, it took me getting cut to actually, like, really want to work on my game and
So
really want to do that.
how'd you work on your game then during that 7th and 8th time?
You know, as soon as I got cut, I went to the weight room. We had a lot of good coaches, a lot of development coaches. So I was like, you had to choose different sports to do. Like, you was required to do a sport like every semester. So when I got cut, I translated into wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, I was wrestling at the time, and you know, I was actually really good at. I was pretty good at wrestling. I wrestled, did weightlifting. So I took those 2 classes, improved, and every day I was just playing. Like, I just played. Like, that's the only way to learn, because my family was still a football family, a heavy football family. So I just had to play. And once I played, and you know, obviously I grew a little bit, but it wasn't like enough where I was competing with them. But I grew enough, and I was more skilled enough, and I came back the next year. And I was a whole better player. And then the coach at the time, he seen that. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to get this kid a shot. So being around that and just working every day, I would say that helped me a lot.
Now, St. Benedict's in general, you talk about, made you pick a whole different sport. Like, that's insane. Like, wrestling's a great sport to do, especially for weightlifting. Balance is a big thing, too. Like, that probably taught you a lot to basketball. Besides basketball, talk about how hard it is to go to St. Benedict's and kind of maybe just everybody around you is just ready for something, especially at a young age.
Yeah, so that was I call that like the survival of the fittest. That was like a dog-eat-dog world. And you either sink or you swim. And, you know, being around certain athletes. And there was a lot of other players that was just as good, that was better than me, that didn't even make the team. Like, and it was like, yo, this is really like some competitive stuff. And they ended up being all right. And I'm like, bro, if he didn't make the team, how the hell can I make the team? And then I ended up, you know, making the team. I ended up being better. But it was like, you know, everybody was talented in certain ways. Everybody was athletic, and everybody was like above the age grade and like above the level that they was playing at. Like, if he was playing 8th grade, like they were like ninth, already ready for 9th and 10th grade and stuff like that. So, and I just picked up a basketball like a year or 2 ago. So, you know, you just had to be with a bunch of dogs, and you know, once you with a bunch of dogs.
So who made that decision for you to go to St. Benedict's?
My mom, to a certain degree. When I was in 5th grade, I had valedictorian in the 5th grade. When I went I went to New Horizons Community Charter School. I graduated with a 4.0. I had valedictorian that year, so I went to St. Leo's in 6th grade. That was a private school, a Catholic school, and all my middle school year I went to Catholic school. They shut down I want to say like a couple years after, so I left there, went to St. Benedict's because I actually had a scholarship to go there in terms of academics.
Really?
Yeah, so I was really like my grades kept me like the first half of my life. Like I wouldn't say it does it now, but like the first half of my life was heavy books. Like I was like really intelligent kid, and that's what pretty much made me go there. Like mainly the books.
How much of your family would you say has was like a part of your life? When I talked to Elijah, his dad was a big part of his life. Who would you say was probably the biggest part of your life?
No doubt my mom. I think my mom was like always there no matter what. You know, she just always tried to see better things for me. Yeah, my mom was really like really she'd be the one. I would say for sure. And you know, she always called me like a miracle child, and like she always was there to like try to help me as much as I could. Like she tried to call me, especially being the oldest of six. Like she just wanted to make sure that I set a good example for the rest of them. And like it's hard to be the oldest of six sometimes, but she just wanted to make sure I was good, and she tried to give me as much as she could, and yeah, she always tried to see what was the best version of me. Maybe it might not be stuff I agree with all the time, but I always know that she wanted the best for me. And the fact that she put in so much effort, and she's a young mom, and for doing that, it took me a long time to understand. Like I gotta respect it. I mean, I see everything, but I just had to respect it. And doing that, like that, yeah, she'll forever be a role model to me.
Now, to get a little deeper into that, obviously you said your mom was young. You're the oldest in that situation. Was it mostly focused on sports and grades, or did you have to help out a lot around the house, or did you have to make sure to do things to keep things afloat?
So that was probably like the one thing that like my mom and my dad did. Even though it was six of us, like, and they like you could tell like eternally maybe they were struggling a little bit, but they never showed that. And we always lived like a normal kid life. Like I didn't have to, help too much, or like of course you had to learn to do dishes and things like that and learn responsibility. But my mom, like my dad, they mainly just try to help us be as normal as possible. Like we always had sports to go to as an option. We was always booked first though. It was always books first. I ain't even gonna lie. It was always book first. And then later on in life, that's when it came to like, oh, he could play football. Like, let's get him into this. Let's get him into that and see what he could do. So it's like once they showed that I was okay in a certain sport and like really into it, then that's when they started pursuing it a lot more. I think my dad, especially with the football, knowing him like in his background, he probably influenced like the football. He started the sports aspect for me. My mom was like the books,
So you talk about your dad's background. I'm not really familiar with your dad. So what does your dad do?
Well, my stepdad, Antoine Chapman. He played football at I keep Elizabeth Linden. He was around that area, but he played football. He was a really good football player, really good track star. Had a scholarship to actually go to Seton Hall.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was D1 track. So he even though I don't share blood with him, he kind of instilled like that. He always was in a weight room every day. He always like had weight equipment. Like we always had like speed ladders, and we always had a weight room.
So that's where that drive comes from.
Yeah, like he was always mostly into him. Like, yo, if you want to be in sports, like go hard. And my mom was like, yo, be in books. He was like, yo, if they want to get into sports, let him get into sports, and let's see if he can sink or swim. And like my dad really was every day he was in that weight room. He was pumping iron. You feel what I'm saying? So that kind of made me want to do it. And once they seen like I was like a strong kid and I was okay. Like I ain't finna say like, I was the best kid because I picked up sports late. So once I did that, it was like he embraced that sports aspect in me. So I give him a lot of credit for that.
Now, in the game of basketball, right? You go into 7th and 8th at St. Benedict's, play with Cornerly a little bit, and your whole goal was to just get better at the game of basketball. Who was an influence that really helped you to get better at the game of basketball? It could be an NBA, like it could be an NBA guy that you watched on TV. It could be somebody that, whether it's your father in your corner. Who would you say?
To be honest, I grew up like LeBron was always like my biggest idol, like growing up. But I necessarily like he made me love the NBA because I was like 8, 9 years old, and I remember watching the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I remember the first I fell in love with the game when I seen LeBron hit that game winner in Orlando.
Yep, I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat as you.
As soon as I seen that, that literally made me fall in love with basketball. And like he was like my favorite player at that point. So I always watched it for him. But I think just the drive of like wanting to get better, like when being in a environment like being in Newark, being in Irvington, like you just wanted to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? So you just had a drive as a kid, just being in that environment. You just wanted to sink or swim. So it was just more so on my background. I didn't really need like too much motivation. I just wanted to eternally get better. Like it didn't really take too much. Like it was like internally, like my dad just put it on in front of me. He was like he gave me the keys, and I just had to drive at that point. So
you're at St. Benedict's, right? You play in 8th grade. Did you play a lot, or you were more?
Nah, I didn't play. I was probably like one of the last people on the bench. I ain't gonna lie.
But no matter what, did that give you like a vote of confidence for yourself being on that team in general?
Yeah, it definitely did. So the game that I knew I could actually play was, I want to say, like maybe the 4th or 5th game of the season. I want to say, I had like 16 points in that game. And it was just off of like just hustling, just getting rebounds, getting easy layups and things like that. The guys just dishing me the ball, and I was just finishing, just running the floor well and things like that. Like nothing crazy, just simple stuff. But like that was like, oh wow, like I really just had like, I dang almost had a 20 clip, and like one of my first, and that was like one of my first ever games getting playing time, and I had like seeing, and I said I wasn't doing anything special, so that literally was probably like the driving force of making me want to get better, I would say, that game.
And your coach at the time, I believe it's Coach Taylor?
No, so Coach Taylor was the varsity, so that was the varsity coach. It was such a blur. Like I'm sorry, I really can't remember like coaches here and there, but I just remember like the environment of being down there, and that was like the driving force for making me, like when I came to West Orange after that. That helped me in like my high school career.
So after St. Benedict's, you go to West Orange?
Mm-hmm. Like right after that.
So you have Coach Dillon?
Yeah, Dillon was like Coach Dillon. Yeah, he was my freshman coach. Him and Coach Dorff.
Everybody that I have conversations with from West Orange always tells me that the freshman team is the best team that they played on while they were there. Is that correct?
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Because I'm not going to name names, but people that were in my class always told me Coach Dillon, right? And do you think it's more Coach Dillon, or do you think? Because like here's the thing, this is what I love doing, right? This is when we finally get into the game of basketball, right? Do you think it's more Coach Dillon, or do you think it's just the talent? Because, and I'm gonna have a follow up here. Coach Dillon, in my opinion, helps not even maximize, lets the players go. He's a players coach. Would you tend to agree with that?
Oh, absolutely, man. I get happy because that was like one of my first coaches that I like kind of like fell in love in terms of like, he gave me the starting opportunity at first, and that's crazy because I was only 3 years into playing basketball as a total, and I was just like, and I was starting for like a freshman team in high school. Like, he just gave me confidence, and he was like, every day just working on the game. Like, and no matter if you was the first player, you was the number one starter, or you was the 15th man on the roster, he treated everybody the same. And I was like, I just remember that. I remember we was in the locker room one time with like the 15th man, and he was just talking to him, like having conversation with him one-on-one, and he was like being upfront and being honest and showing him love, like just as he did with any of his starters. And with that was the time I was like, yo, you could really go in his office and like talk to him about anything. And it was like, I remember I would go in there and just talk to him about a person, like, Coach Dillon, can I talk to you about personal stuff? Like, he had like that type of relationship where you could just talk to him.
Would you think that would be better for players, not just high school athletes, but just players in general, to rather have a guy that's going to be in your corner like that? Or would you rather have somebody that is more hard on you and just focused on the game?
I think it depends on where you are in your career. I think especially when you're at that developmental, I needed like a Coach Dillon. I needed that because he helped me develop. And my confidence never wavered. Like, I would have a bad game, but my confidence would never waver. And he always instilled confidence to me to be doing better.
Right.
And then I remember, like, throughout the season, I was having, like, 20 and 12 games, and I was having, like, double-doubles and things like that. And, like, even if I had, like, 4 points of, like, three, like, if I had, like, a stinker, he would just be like, yo, like, next game, like, you know what I'm saying? This is what you would do better. He was, like, he was hard, but at the same time, but he loved all his players. And his confidence never wavered from another player. It never wavered because he cared about the development because we were freshmen at the time. He didn't care about – he cared about winning, but he cared about the development to make sure that your future was better. And he always said that even when I was leaving high school, he was like when he was telling college coaches, he was like, yo, the best is ahead of Tyshaun. Like, it's the best is ahead of me. And I was like, I respected that so much. And, like, it was like he knew that over time, like, I would be better. And for a coach to believe in you like that and just he never wavered. Like, I promise you, he never wavered. And that, like, I can never thank him enough for. So, you know, I'm always have respect for him for that.
Now, freshman year, again, it's going to be one of the best teams, right? Even not going to lie, I think my class was better. I can't lie to you. We had Gotti, we had Godley, we got Stephon. I believe we had Kenyon as well.
You don't want to talk about my JV
Listen,
team.
man, our team was stacked, bro.
Bro, what?
Our team was stacked, bro. I'm telling you. I think we had Will Hill, too. We got my boy Damian. I might have been on that team.
Man.
Everybody was on that West Orange team, bro. I'm telling you, we might have to compare classes. This might be, you know what? We might have to take a little TikTok episode and do, like, comparisons of West Orange classes.
You know what? I would say this. In terms of your class, I think your class is, like, the deepest. Because my class only had, like, 3 people that ended up actually staying the whole time. Like, well, actually 2. I think it was only me and Gabe. Yeah, Gabe Severa. I think we was, like, the only 2 from my class. Yeah, nah, he was cold. He was solid. He was solid for sure. But it was only us 2 that ended up going because a lot of my class was football players.
Right.
Because I had shout out Michael Suji, CJ Onyechi. Like, he was ended up playing D1 football.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he ended up playing
D1 football for Rutgers, right?
Yeah, he ended up playing. Dial ended up playing for, like, a lot of people. Like, they just ended up Tyrone Brooks. Like, they all ended up playing.
That's my guy. Yo, shout out to Tyrone and Tyler, man.
My God.
Yo, we got the little. I believe what was it? Tyrone, Tyra. Yeah, Tyrone, Tyra, and Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have an older sister, but I forgot.
Yes, they do have an older sister.
Yeah, they did a lot for me, man. Shout out to Bethany.
Man, your Bethany Church.
Yeah. Nah, if you know, you know. You know about Bethany Church, man.
Man, those were the days.
Those were the days, little camp.
Yeah, I lived around the corner, right around the corner. I used to say right around the corner from there. We used to be at Colgate going crazy with it and everything. That was
and every Thursday they let you in to shoot on the hoop or whatever and go.
You know, I never could play in that Bethany league.
Who?
I could never play in the Bethany league. They never allowed me to play in the Bethany league. So Tyrone, like, real side story. So his dad, like, I remember one time, like, I was gonna try out for it. I don't know why, but I was just to BS around. He was like, nah, you can't play. Why? And then I remember, like, we had, like, an open run at Bethany. I think I had, like, 30-something. I came in, like, in.
But that's weird, though, because they had, like, some real, like, I think one kid was dunking in there, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, because they had a wide range, though. I think it was from, like, I can't even tell you, like, 5th to, like, 8th.
Yeah, it was, like, 5th to 8th. And then it was, like.
You remember Malik?
Yes.
I was playing against Malik, bro.
I think he was a grade above me.
Yeah, I had to guard him.
Football, the receiver, right?
Yes. Why am I guarding him? Bro, mind you, I am 5'9" now. Bro, it took me a minute. My growth was not going. Like, it was not going. Like, at that time, I was small, bro. I was small. It wasn't happening. But Malik was in that league. Tyrone.
I think Asuji was in that league, too.
He might have been.
Yeah, I think he was in that league, too.
And I was spraying shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, everybody remembers my shot. You know what I mean?
Yo.
And if you in that Bethany league, you know if you know.
Bro.
I was a sharpshooter.
I remember I went to a game one time just to BS around, just see it. Yo, I see people was getting clips. I'm like, yo, what is going on in this league? That just was funny.
Nah, it was fun, though. I mean, but I think what's good about that is that, especially the younger guys, like in my grade, Gotti, Godley, like they're used to playing against the older guys, so they showed that they can hang.
Oh, nah, them two
And
boys some dog. The
They
Marsh
actually
brothers.
ended up graduating from I think it's Delaware Valley State,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
They ended up graduating them, so shout out to them. Big shout out to West Orange in this podcast.
Bro, West Orange. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. West Orange has some people though. I ain't even gonna lie. We could have had a lot more success if like certain people stayed. You know.
And that's what I wanted to talk about. So, you stayed at West Orange 9th through 12th, correct?
Yeah, I stayed there the whole 4.
Tell me, was there any time where you thought Seton Hall could be a possibility? Because I see a lot of people go to Seton Hall. I saw Jordan Walker. I saw Jabri. I saw he's gonna kill me with his name.
I know.
What's
I
his
remember
name?
Pat Jameson came from Seton Hall to West Orange. Like,
Jackson too is another one. Who's the last one? Pat. Oh my God, Pat Jameson.
Yeah, he came from Seton.
Oh my God, that's the name.
Yeah. He said,
I forgot about that moment.
Yeah,
Shoot.
bro.
That moment.
Yo, he was the top shooter in Jersey. He was the top
Yeah.
shooter in Jersey. He was ranked the top shooter in Jersey.
Oh, that boy can hoop. No, that boy can ball. See, me and him could go all
Yeah,
day.
oh.
Wait till we get some other people on here, bro. I'm
Yo.
telling you, it's gonna be a movie. But back to square one. Did you ever have thoughts about going to Seton Hall?
I wouldn't say Seton Hall. I would say that I had thoughts about leaving. I did have thoughts
Okay.
about leaving. Maybe Seton Hall for 2.5, but like I didn't know where to go because like that was at a point like even though I was at West Orange, I was changing schools like pretty much every 2 years. Like I couldn't stay in school. I couldn't stay in one school, not because I was in trouble or anything. I just was always moving around, flip flopping school.
But you played at West Orange all 4 years.
Yeah, I played at West Orange all 4. I think my sophomore year was probably like the year because I remember what happened my sophomore year. I remember I was playing JV. I actually didn't play varsity until my senior year, which I'm not even about to. That was crazy. I don't know why.
Now let's get into that. I want to get into that now. Seton Hall stuff we can go back to. Junior year, believe, right? Junior going into your senior year,
So
or was it sophomore?
So
Could have been varsity.
So I played freshman ball my freshman year. My sophomore and junior year I played JV. I thought for a fact because sophomore year I remember I came back. I think my biggest transition where I knew I was gonna be okay from like my freshman year into my sophomore year. So like freshman to sophomore I was 2 different players. I remember because I came back like 20 pounds heavier for my sophomore year. I remember workout. We had tryouts. I was killing everybody. Like it was getting bad. I remember we had a couple people. I remember a kid named Boogie was there.
Boogie!
Yeah, Boogie was there.
See, I know I don't know him.
Yeah,
but I love
Nas
him.
was there. Was Justin Winston there? I want to say yes. I
Nick
think
was there too, right?
yes. Nick was there. Nick was a freshman. I think Justin Winston was a freshman. He was playing there. Jeremiah Moore was there. Jeremiah Boone. We had Gabe was playing varsity. I think JV varsity or something like that. So it was still Andy was still there. I'm trying to remember. Gosh, we had some people, but I think sophomore year I knew that I thought I could have potentially played, but I was okay with it. I ended up leaving towards the end of like my sophomore year because I dealt with like a major death with my cousin. My baby cousin passed away during that year. Like I want to say right around my birthday. She was like I think like 11, 12, and she had cancer. So that was like really tough for me. And then I remember we was playing like a county tournament game for JV, and he was like, "Yo, Ty, are you coming?" I was like, "Nah, bro. I just my baby cousin just died," and like I ain't show up for a little minute, and then I had to. That season ended the way it did, and I thought like I was kind of like on the fence.
Not saying you regret the decision, but
Nah.
not saying that. But do you think that played a factor into you not getting varsity that year?
It was my junior year, absolutely. For sure. I had to.
Now, who was the coach for JV at the time?
Coach Cooper. He was the coach. I remember he was actually a valid coach. He had me let me rock for the most part. Like he was actually he actually liked me as a player. Like he respected me as a player. So I guess like me not being there because I was an important piece. Like being able to rebound the basketball, being able to score from mid range and finish inside. You know, that was probably like, dang, he ain't go to a county tournament game. So I understand from that perspective. But it was like I was going through an emotional time during that time.
Right.
Like that was like, and I'm seeing like the way my baby cousin, she went through cancer, and I'm just like, bro, like she was like deteriorating little by little. And I remember the first time I heard about it, and I was like, I was young, so like I wouldn't say I was like naive, not naive to it, but it was like, okay, like she gonna get better, and she just got worse. And I remember the last time I seen her live, that was like one of the craziest things to see, and I didn't. You might think it's crazy. I didn't cry during it, but I was like, I guess I was numb to it because it was like, it was what I couldn't. I ain't had too much time to reflect on it because it was too much going on, and then not being able to play for the rest of the season, this, that, and the third. It was like a lot that was going on. I was going through a change in my own life, and then I want to say my junior year, later that year, I lost my grandfather. Like I want to say like 2 days into like my junior year, I lost my grandfather, and then so that whole year was like 2015 was like crazy, and that one was heavy because he had a stroke when I was 2 years old. So, he could only say like 5 words. Like he was able to say like 5, 6 words like throughout his vocabulary because he had a stroke on the right side of his body. But I understood everything he said. Like it sounded crazy, but like everything he was talking about, he would like flip through TVs, watch CNN and things like that. I watch the news with him and stuff like that. And my grandmother would take care of him. So when he died, that was like a big burden on me. And then my junior year, I don't think like that was probably the most toughest for me because it was difficult to kind of go through it because personal life, relationship wise, basketball wise, grades wise too. That was like a real change in my life, and I was like angry at the world. So like me not making varsity, like it was like a nail in the coffin. Even though like I ain't gonna lie, that JV team, like we was like, if there was a ranking for JV, we was the best JV team I ever played with. That was the most talent I probably played with during my high school year. But that was like a big thing.
So you go through that big roadblock, 2015. How obviously it's tough to shift, but how were you able to shift from that? Because I mean, it's more than basketball at this point, right? We all love the game, but how were you able to battle those demons and get through it? Because I feel like with athletes, and this is why we have what we have right now, is a big part of the game is mental health, right? The fame, the media, the noise that you hear from everything. Like mental health is a real thing. It could affect people.
Absolutely.
Tell me about how you were able to change that that narrative and that angry person around.
I ain't gonna lie, it took a while. Like it took that whole year. Like I ain't even gonna lie to you. Like it took that whole year. I was just not the same person. Like you could see like a change in like character. Like I was like, that's when like that's when the name people call me Shiggity Shiggs. People call me Shiggs in high school. So like that was born, but I was like an angry type of person. Like I was doing like dumb stuff, bro. I don't know, like I couldn't explain like what I was doing, but it was some out of character stuff, and I wasn't the same person. And like it took me a while to break through, and it took me like I had to find peace in myself, and like seeing my grandmother like not be the same person for about a year, and I kind of felt her pain too, because outside of my mom, that'd probably be like the one person that like dearest to my heart, like my grandmother. And she's been I can't say enough. That's like that's an angel, like that's a walking angel right there. And like seeing her like kind of like angry for the first time in my life, it was like, bro, I felt that. And somebody that you love like that, like everybody know, like a man's love for their grandmother is differently. Like any guy could tell you that. So seeing that kind of rubbed off on me, and I remember we had a talk going into my senior year. She was like, she called me Tissy Roll. She was like, Tissy Roll, everything gonna be all right. And like I had to hear it from her in order to be like, all right, I knew I was gonna be all right. And then I had to go through like that. I had to go through that year, and I had to go through that junior season. And even JV, we can even talk about that. Like that JV team, like that was like the best team. We lost like our first game to Milburn, like by like 10. So we should never lose to that. After that, we clipped everybody we played, like every single person we played. We end up winning our county tournament, things like that. We ended the season, I want to say like 20-1. So we didn't lose a game right after. We did not lose a game, and I think our average margin of win was like 23-25.
Do you think that JV team helped your health a little bit during that time? Like, got you back to the same person?
Because I met like as I say, like arguably I could say like arguably one of my best friends in Jelani. So shout out him and Nick, like them two really helped me like dramatically. And outside of that, my man's Chris, but you know, I think off the court, Chris helped me with it a lot. And then also like being around the ball team, I think Jelani, and Nick, those two like really helped me get together. Because also with my grade, like I was a lot younger than the people in my class, and I didn't come into with them because they was all in like Liberty and Roosevelt. If you in West Orange, like those the two middle school that you go either Liberty or Roosevelt. So I went to St. Benedict, and then going in there, it's like, okay, like I don't know anybody. But then that freshman class, like I was around their age more, and I actually knew some of the kids from that class, and since being in that, you know, grade range, I was able to connect with them a lot more because I was more so their age. So it was actually pretty cool, and then being around them, like we also shared the same music and things like that. So just having friends that understood you, like really helped me like battle that.
That's fire. Yeah. Now, JV, senior season. There's a change in the coach. Went from Coach Tynes originally to Coach Cowens.
Yes, sir.
You know what? This is my platform, so I get to say what I want. This is something I'll never forget, and I don't tell a lot of people this story.
Right.
I was the manager for the basketball team my junior year. The date of the basketball team, like just honoring people, was March 22nd. I didn't really want to go, but I was like, you know what? I'll go. Support the team. Amir Brooks, that's my guy. Have a lot of respect for him. His birthday is March 21st.
Okay.
My birthday is March 22nd. Okay. So, Cowens knows this, though. I told everybody, a lot of people there wish me happy birthday in front of Coach Cowens. Coach Cowens was like, oh, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. And then we get to the end of the event, and he's like, you know, we got to wish somebody a happy birthday real quick. And, you know, we got to give him a shout out for everything he's done. He's been very helpful. Amir, come up here. He tells Amir to go up there. And nothing for me. And I was very cool with the team. Was I there every game? Probably not, because I had another side job. But I was always respectful to Coach Cowens. And that didn't, again, it's really, what I'm saying might be a little bit of petty.
The tipping point.
But, like, at the same time, like, shit like that don't sit right with me. I'll say it. I'll curse it. I don't care. It didn't sit right with me. And then now seeing those teams, I know how good those guys are. I went to school with most of these guys, right? Liberty team now was a manager of in middle school, 8th grade. We didn't lose a game. We did not lose a single game. And again, if Stephon hears this, I'm not being disrespectful in any way. But wherever Stephon Shear went, he won.
Yeah.
In my eyes, he was the best player in our class.
Okay.
Right? And he went up to varsity, and this was the first time that I watched Stephon lose. Like, lose games. And it wasn't him. And I was like, something's not right here. Because I've watched this guy win his entire life, and the coaches weren't even that great. But they were player coaches.
Yeah.
So tell me, because I know a struggle's coming. Tell me what it was like being a player under Coach Cowens, and you guys went 12-13 that year.
We went something like that, like a little bit
No,
above.
I know you did. I looked it up.
We went 12.
You went 12-13. You didn't have a great record in the SEC. The year before with Coach Tynes, you went undefeated. Not you, but West Orange went undefeated and went 8-0. Tell me what it was like working under Coach Cowens. Sorry, and just tell me about it a little bit.
So Collins was actually alright. He was actually alright to me. He wasn't too bad to me. I guess mainly because I was a big, so and he played at NJIT. I just think that looking back.
Talk about it. We got the platform now.
Oh man.
Nobody's stopping us.
Listen, I wish I could make a call. I should make a call right now. I want to make a call so badly. I really do.
But
I want to make a call.
You want to call a friend?
Yeah, I want to make a call. But that jump was crazy. It was crazy.
Can you get that person on FaceTime or no?
Yeah, I could do that. Let me see. Yo, it was good. I'm on the podcast real quick.
What we got there?
We got my man's Jay. Jelani, I'm on the podcast real quick. I got FaceTime you real quick. We're gonna talk. We got to chop it up about something.
So
I need
got
to be
Jelani
honest.
on the podcast already.
Yeah.
You already got guests in the span of a month.
One of the best guards I ever played with. He already know how I feel. So he about to.
I mean, Jelani can ball, right? I mean, we
Yep.
saw it in the tournament.
Listen, so boom. So cousin, so we you gonna laugh. So we talking about Cowens.
Oh no.
So we talking about Cowens. So we talking about my senior year when we were in like 12 and 13. Like, and he took over for Tynes. He told me what that was like. I said, listen, hey.
But he played with both Tynes and Cowens, right?
Yeah, he played. No, we didn't play for Tynes. We never played for Tynes.
He never played for Tynes.
We never played for Tynes. We never played with Tynes, bro. Literally the year we were supposed to play with Tynes, like, didn't he resign probably like 3 days before the game? He resigned 3 days. I promise you. So we had like the summer league and everything. He literally resigned like 3 days before the game. And then Cowens took over as a coach. And then ever since then, it was just like, I don't know. You want to explain it better than me, cousin? Because look. By the way, this is Jelani.
He's the worst coach in the country. There's nothing to explain. You just had to be there, bro.
Like, hey, bro, like.
You guys enjoying that content? I sure as hell am. Watching it all back. The All In podcast is the best, not even a question about it. Me and Ty love talking the game of basketball. Elijah's going to be on here too, talking about football. You guys better stay tuned. But if you want to stay tuned, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, leave a like down below, comment any opinions you guys have, or if you have any other people that you would like to be on the show, feel free. I would love to tell their story as well. And also, don't forget to follow our social media pages. We're on TikTok, hot_take_empire. And then on Instagram, we're hottake_empire. You guys better stay tuned. The content is going to keep rolling out. We're going to keep getting active, and we're ready to go. Let's do it. All right. We're back. All In podcast. Left off at Coach Cowens, and I think we'll leave it at that. So, school. Senior year. School's over for you. And you were looking to go somewhere else. Didn't end up working out. Tell me what was next after high school.
So it was actually interesting because the end of high school didn't actually end well. I actually broke my hand, so I never was able to play in states for varsity.
Wow.
Never played in the counties or states for varsity.
You played in that Cranford tournament, though.
Yes, I did, and I was
With Gabe.
Yes, and he won. Oh my God, Gabe took my MVP because during the first half of that game, I was actually on pace to become MVP for the tournament, and then in the second half, well, he went ballistic. Well,
He put up 21. So.
yeah, he went ballistic. So I ended up being the first team honors anyway. So I was happy about that. But so at the high school, it was really difficult. I was actually on the show for like 3 months, so I didn't really work out. And then I tried to go to EKB, stuff like that. Then nothing really worked out. I took a year off, did my own thing. Just had to get healthy. Just had to know what I wanted to do in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I knew I wanted to play basketball, but I didn't play my senior year. I didn't play the rest of my senior year. So, after that, went to Essex County, did all my prerequisite skills. So I did that for like a year. Then after that, I ended up getting a scholarship from Morris County. So, shout out them. Then
There's an article for NJ Hoops.
Yeah, they posted
shit.
it. So I appreciate them, and they gave me my first scholarship. I actually didn't end up playing there. Stuff didn't work out. But so then after that, went back to Essex County, just worrying about my grades at this point. Because at this point I'm like 20, but I'm still young, obviously. But just trying to find my way in life. And then after that, COVID happened. Pretty much. So went through a bunch of situations.
I feel like in these journeys that we're going to discuss, like COVID is a huge part of it, especially with Elijah. He ended up going to California. COVID happens, not able to play at one of the big schools in California. And for your case, COVID happens, big shift, no basketball. I think you maybe had a little bit of a basketball season to play, but
yeah. So I played. So during COVID, I actually ended up, like, towards the end of COVID, I actually ended up going to Sussex County. I want to say around 2021, ended up going to Sussex County. Coach Stockton, my guy Stockton.
you say Stockton's probably the best coach you had?
Yeah, I would say about sure. In terms of like development, but for sure. I think Sussex was like the best thing for me in terms of like my game. Like, he brought out a whole nother aspect of my game. Him, and this is also this coach Danny Wilson. So shout out him. If you don't know Danny, like he has a recruiting company. Brookdale legend. Went to Brookdale County College. Won championships there, and I could go on and on about what he did for me. And him and Stockton, those are the two people that helped me try to get in the right direction. Led me to go to Sussex County. Played the COVID season there. We only played like 8 to 10 games. I had a solid season there. For those games, I was like top 5 in like 4 of the fastest categories in the nation. We lost every game. I ain't gonna lie. We was getting smoked. Like, we was getting smoked. Like, I ain't gonna lie. We was getting smoked. Yeah, I remember we played Morris twice. Yo, they did us in badly. Like, I am badly, but they knew I was. But I needed that. But what Stockton did in terms of going there, like, he put the ball in my hands, and he was like, "Bro, you're not a big, you're a guard." And that was the first time. Like, that was actually the second time I did that. The first coach was like my trainer that I met in 2019, which was one of my best friends' brother. His name is Daryl. I call him Coach D. Well, Coach DB. I call him DB. I still love him to this day. Like, like I said, one of those dudes I can't enough about. He was the one in 2019 that told me, "Yo, like, we gonna train you," because I was in a dark time in 2018. Like, 2018, I was in a dark time. Met him, trained from about a year, and he helped me get that opportunity to go to Morris County. Yes, it didn't work out, and I didn't end up even playing there. So, but he just helped me do that and helped develop my game. And then when I went to Sussex, like, all that work kind of helped. Unfortunately, like, I wish I would have did even more at Sussex. I ended up, I think, right before the season, we was having a practice, and I had a grade 1 strain in my quadricep tendon. Like, I was doing defensive slides because that floor. I hated that floor at Sussex. I ain't gonna lie. If you ever played at Sussex County, you know what I'm talking about. That floor is literally made of cement. Like, it's like cement.
Sinks.
So it was like crazy. And I was doing like defensive slides one day, and I just looked down. I was like, yo, what's good with my knee? And then I had a grade 1 quadricep, and then by the end of the season, I remember the last game of the season that we played, it just gave out, and I ended up having like a grade 2 strain, like a bad grade 2 strain, and like this whole quadricep was like blue and like blue and purple. Yeah, shit was crazy. Still had an alright season. Statistically, I couldn't walk for like dang near 3 months after that. But and then that time actually helped me get into the career like I am in now, like in my profession, which is physical therapy.
That's what I was gonna actually get you towards. The show's called All In, right? And everybody's got their own passion, right? And that you're all into. For you, I would say you're pretty multitasking a lot of things, right? But basketball at first was your main passion. How were you able to kind of shift? Like when did you know that like maybe basketball wasn't going to be the end all for me, the NBA or
Well, I think what happened was it was like I don't want to necessarily say that injuries helped. I think an injury made me love something else a little bit more, and I think the one thing I didn't have a safety net, even though I was good in like multiple different things. And like that time away from like not like trying to figure out my life, I just picked up skills in life. So I was dabbling into certain things, and I had to find myself as a person, and it took me a long time. Like I couldn't find myself until like this past year, and going through a lot of stuff, and like being homeless for a little bit of time and things like that. Not sometimes not knowing like where I was gonna sleep at, this, that, and the third, and then that led me to this year, which was one of the greatest redemption years of my life, and I'm happy to even be on this, be in this space right now. Like I couldn't think enough. But in terms of like that, I just think I needed a backup plan. I think I needed to find something that I really need to strive towards, and I just needed something where I know, like, okay, I need to be stable. I need to lock in. And, we use that word a lot. Like, I use that word locked in a lot. But that's like a sacred word to me, because it's like when you say lock in, like we say it all the time off camera, like lock in, like you got to be focused. Like you gotta really kill. You got to really do what you got to do. And I just locked into a different level on like my career. I'm like, yo, going to school and going back to school, wanting to do what I wanted to do. And, finding an interest in that. Like that injury that I had in 2021 made me change my whole. I wanted to know. Like, I remember trainers, we was doing like cupping and all that stuff. And it was like, what's wrong with my knee? They couldn't know. So I remember I like rehabbed it myself. All I did was go to the weight room, stayed off it for a little bit. And, it got better and I got stronger. And I was like, why is it like this? So then that's when I thought like, yeah, I think I need to go in there.
Basketball will always be the passion, but your passion from basketball and the love of trying to get back on the court was such a big thing for you that the curiosity of what was going on with your knee made you kind of get into that.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, but and also like I just like as a side thing, like my whole like at the high school, like I remember like. Even like those 2 years I took off, like I was trying, like after high school, I was trying to find myself too. And I remember going to open runs, trying to find different coaches, like to, like be under their wing and stuff like that. And I remember it was this one coach, his name was like Coach Al. I went to an open run. He said, and I quote, I'll always remember this. He was like, I was like, Coach, like, what do you think I could do? Like, and what do you think my potential is and stuff like that? Because I was really curious because I didn't know. He was like, you would struggle, I think, like honestly, you would struggle to be a D3 player. Like what? Like I ever since then, everything, and I'll admit it now. Everything I take is personal. Like that's why when I talk basketball, bro, I get personal about that because there was people telling me like, yo, you ass, like this, that, and the third. And I'm not sitting there saying like, oh, like I'm one of them. No, hell, I'm far from it. But I just work, and I'm just one of the hardest. I try to be one of the hardest workers in the gym. Like every time I go in there, like I'm out rebound you. I'm known for like just rebounding, like getting every rebound possible, trying to finish around the basket. Like you can't get a rebound over me. Like I promise you. And just working hard, knowing angles, because my body when I was younger, I wasn't able to like to move as well and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to develop it. So now I'm 6'6". So once I was able to like grow into my body and then start weightlifting even more.
6'5".
Yeah, I'm,
6'5". Yeah.
nah, shit, I had measurements. They said I was 6'6", but whatever.
Oh, right. They got generous.
Huh?
They probably just make you feel good.
Man, I got a 6'9" team, man. I'll have to let them know right now. I had the measurements. They said I was 6'6", so I'm going with what the doctor told me at my physical earlier this year. So I'm 6'6". I don't care what that. Don't. Shut up. I hate people.
So
yeah.
that open run, coach. Open runs.
Open. I promise you.
When did you start? Because I know you've played against some top competition in those open runs. When did those open runs start for you? When did you start doing them? And what kind of competition were you facing at that point?
So during that time, like I want to say like 2018, 2019, like I wasn't really. I was just trying to hoop anywhere, but I was hooping like with people that was like mainly like kind of JUCO guys and things like that. Just trying to like, you know, I don't know, just trying to find a coach, like somebody to just believe in me. At that time, like it's hard to find people because it's like everybody got a name and everybody got a journey, and you know you got all these schools out here like Roselle, Hudson, like you got so many different, like even like West Side, Central, like bro, it's
You said Roselle Catholic.
yeah, like
We'll get into who you played against, but shout out to Keon Price, Roselle Catholic.
He went to your school, point guard from your school.
Yep, went to Montclair State. Keon Price, the general.
Mm-hmm.
Called a lot of his games. He's a great player, great person in general. So shout out to him. Hopefully we can get him on the podcast.
We need him here soon, hopefully. But I was just trying to find a coach to believe in me, and you know, I think the one coach that I did find too was like Coach King. Coach King, he seen me. I think we went to an open run in like Newark one day in like 2018, and you know I was holding my own and stuff like that. So then that kind of led to that standpoint. So he was one of the coaches that kind of helped me in seeing things. So I met a few good people down the way. Like I ain't gonna lie.
So that was like right after high school, right?
2018? Yeah, about like a year or two, 2018, 2019, like when I really started dabbling into like really trying to like get back into it, because like I said, like 2017, like I wasn't healthy. That whole year, like 2017 and early 20, I just wasn't healthy, and I just needed to like to get back into shape, and then I needed to just put my name back out there again, because then I was a year off like not playing serious basketball, so I needed to just put my name out there again.
I already kind of hinted at it. Roselle Catholic. Player that you played against, Reid, 6th man of the year for the Timberwolves this year. Give perspective, because you're a fantastic athlete. Played in college. How different is the NBA compared to the level that you guys play at?
So,
or facing an athlete like him?
So I was able to play against a bunch of D1 athletes, but like he was probably like the biggest I won. This was 2020, in the middle of COVID. So I remember I was at the YMCA. It was me and this kid named Mario Gunn. That's one of
Mario
my
Gunn.
Yeah, shout out.
He went to he goes to Kane.
Yeah, shout out my kid.
Shout out to Mario Gunn. I know Mario Gunn.
And my EO brother.
I called his playoff game.
My EO brother. Shout out him.
Yeah. Wait, you know him?
Of course I know.
We got to get him on the pod.
That's my guy.
Him
That's
and
my guy.
DJ Alicia. That dude DJ could ball.
He's tough. He go crazy. I was there with him, Juju, this dude named Nate, Kendall. Like it was a bunch of dudes there. Cause I was in 2020. Like I thought I was gonna go to Kane before I went to during the COVID year when I was trying to find certain places. I remember I was in Maryland. I thought I was gonna go to King. Like I was telling everybody I was going there before I went to Sussex County. But so I remember I came back from Maryland. I was training with Grant Williams' older brother. His name is Neville. His brother name is Neville. Neville Young. Shout out Neville. I was training with him for about 3 weeks when I went down in Maryland during the COVID. It was a good time. He showed me a lot. Like he played. What did he play? I think he played at Pace. He played against a lot of people. Like he played open runs with like Lou Will, Joe Johnson, and all them players like down there. So, you know, that was like a really good experience. Going with him and knowing like an NBA type of player or like a family of an NBA person, like, you know, a pro. And when I came back, like I seen my game improve, and I was only there for like about a month. And, you know, he took me to the YMCA in Union, and it was me, him. I remember this one kid I met in St. Benedict's that was there. His name is Teray Merritt. It was he was there, and then I seen Nas, I'm like, the fuck is going on? Like, as though, like he was like just private running shit like that. So I remember playing that. I'm like, bro, it was like game to 7. I never seen games go back. That shit was getting done up quick as hell, shit like that. Yo, niggas getting smoked. I'm like, yo, what the fuck, bro? So I remember it was my team turn, me, Mario, and a couple other people in, and we going up against Nas' team. And they was like, yo, you guard Nas.
Oh my God. The fear.
Nah, I ain't gonna say nah.
You
I
ain't
ain't
scared,
no,
nah, but like I'm just like
I ain't no
really,
bitch, but I'm
like,
like, all right, cool. Like I was just like, fuck it, cool, whatever. I was like, fuck it, cool. So I ain't gonna lie. When every time I go, he touched the ball like he just passed it, so I ain't gonna lie. I end up getting lucky, but so he ain't never like really tried to do anything. But it was like it was what it was. But it was like it was cool. It was just cool to be on there. And then I remember later in the runs, I was on his team. I'm like 6'5" because I grew like an extra inch out of there. I'm 6'5". I'm setting screens for like a 6'9". He going off the dribble, pulling from half and shit like that. I'm just like, what the fuck type of 6'9", 6'10" nigga pulling from half like that? Netting them shits. I'm like, all right, bro, it is what it is. But it was just fun competition, you know what I'm saying? But that was like,
it didn't even look like he was trying for real though.
yeah, I mean he was trying a little bit, but like it was like it was easy. The game was easy to him, obviously, but yeah, that was probably like one of my first times. Like, all right, so this is levels to this shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, man,
because I feel like people don't understand how really great the NBA is.
Bro. Like even high level Division I athletes, bro. There's levels to like certain shit, bro. And
because like I know you talked about D3 a little bit, and like you thought it was a little like disrespectful that the coach said that, but like I'll be honest with you, like D3 athletes, like
they
some
get
of these
to.
guys can get to it, man. Like these guys can really ball.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to D3 athletes. It's not at all. It was just like he said I was gonna be a struggling D3. Like that was like the max I could ever go. Yeah, and I was like, and I ended up getting like offers, like NAIA offers after and stuff like that, like out of Sussex. Once I did my Sussex County stint, and I'm like, excuse me, bro. Like I took it personal, bro. Like I had to take that personal, and I had to improve and get better. So it was just one of those situations. But D3 basketball, especially the NJAC, is so competitive. Like that's the best.
I
D3.
will tell you straight up, I have called many games for the NJAC, especially basketball all year. Jazir Noel, Alicia, I'm going to forget names, Marcellus Ross, Khalif Mears, obviously Montclair, Keon, Kieran, Mike, even Kunga Saring, who's super duper talented. He played his first year, but when he gets the ball, he can go.
Yeah, like that shit ain't no joke. That shit is not no joke,
no,
bro.
It's not no joke.
College in general, bro. Like that's the one thing like I had to put respect on too. Like, well, obviously I am. And if you play in college, bro, in general, like you really made it. Like in terms like only like a few percentage of high school players end up like what is it like 2 to 5%?
Yeah.
Like at most probably like 5%, but I would even say like even less than that. Play any type of college basketball, much less like D3. Like I'm talking about junior college, D1, D2, 3, NAIA, like anything, bro. Like only like 5%, like at least.
I don't think people get that, you know.
And it's like it's a different. Yeah, like it's a different. And like people just disrespect the game. I'm like, bro, do you know how hard it is to get on the court, much less even make a team, bro? Like it's really difficult. And then to put up the numbers that people be putting up, and I'm like, bro, these guys are special. Like, and then you'll go up against these dudes, like you'll look at them on film, like, yo, I could kill him. And then when you go up against them,
it's no joke.
Get your ass busted.
So I just want to give people context. COVID was going on 2021. I knew you before then from Bethany, the summer camp that they had there and stuff like that. But we kind of reconnected when I started my own podcast. Not this. This is like levels above what we were doing. We had the sports mindset stuff, just talking about football every single week. Then got into basketball, got into wrestling, and then like I think we became really good friends. Like knowing because we have similar interests and we have different perspectives.
Absolutely.
And I think definitely like the reason why I wanted you on the show so bad is because, I mean, one, we know each other now, right? We've had multiple podcasts with each other. Good friends.
Respect level.
Great energy, respect level, know the game. So this podcast is going to be a lot of fun. But for you right now, physical therapy is what you're looking for. That's your passion. But for anybody that is looking, any younger, the younger generation that's looking to get in the game basketball, is listening to this podcast, what would you tell them are the key factors into making them great?
I would say stay in the gym, bro. Number one, like stay in the gym. Be serious about your craft. Like don't be online just always posting workouts and thinking just for clicks and views and stuff like that. And I'm more old fashioned with it. Just stay locked in, bro. Like focus on your craft. Like be great at what you want to do. Like don't do it just to impress people or this, that, and the third. Like I may have had a different story. Like everybody got different stories, and maybe people got revenge stories and things like that. But I would just say, like, yo, stay locked in, stay to your craft. You know, work, just work, and work as hard as you can. And you know, you just never know. Like even like I said, like I didn't end up becoming no D1, no high D1 athlete. Like it's not a story like that. It's just a story about, bro. I'm just a young kid from. Right now, I'm just a young kid from East Orange, New Jersey that just worked. I just worked, and you know, I just put the work in, and you know, I just let it fall. I let the chips fall the way they may, and if I become a better player, I'll become a better player, and if not, then you know, I just tried as much as I could. Even like this past year when I played at Union, shout out Coach Chewy, shout out Coach D, Stanberry. You know, those guys like. You know, so those two specifically, like especially Stanberry, helped me get my life back together. Especially when I was, you know, homeless. He told me, he was like, I remember we met in like July, August. He said in 8 months, like, what do you see yourself? And I said, bro, I could see myself being back in a better situation, trying to reconnect with my mom and this like that. And even though I didn't finish the season, you know, I had a health scare in January. So I didn't play the second half of the season. It was just like I know, like it was like maybe a little bit disappointed to him. So I wanted to eventually talk to him, but I love him, and I got so much respect for him because of what he did. And the one thing, like he told me, like he was up front with me off the strength, like, and you know, Coach Chewy, he eventually moved on, and I was like, Coach Chewy, just like with Coach DB, my trainer, he was like a big brother to me. You know, Coach Chewy is also Union County legend, average 30, All-American. You gonna get him, Coach Chewy, gonna get you one here soon too. You know, those two guys really helped me in this past year. Like that team also, like those are like my brothers, and you know, I respect them, and you know, I got love for all of them, and you know, they bring that joy back. And you know, like even though I may have not finished the season, and I may not, like, you know, that may be one of the last times that I may hoop in college, or maybe I might play again this season. Who knows? But you know, wherever the life take me, I just know that you know I had brothers that I loved, you know, and I appreciated, and they respected me, and they all looked up to me, or a lot of them looked up to me, and you know, I bonded, and they just talked to me, and they accepted me for me. And that was like something when you at the lowest of the lows, and they can accept you for you, bro. And you know, we had a lot of different personalities on the team, but if they could respect you for you, bro, and understand different situations, bro, I can't bash you. I would never bash you, and I'll never talk. Like I would love that situation, man. I would cherish that for the rest of my life. Like Union County gave me so much, which I'm currently am now. I'm trying to get into the PTA program, but that school gave me so much back, and that gave me so much joy back, and that's why I could walk around again like happy and motivated and like, you know, be here today. So I shout out them. You know, shout out to people that like, you know, stay down with me, and you know, hopefully, I can make people proud at the end of the day.
I think you definitely have, Ty. I would say, you know, to give you some credit, like whenever anybody that I talk to, including myself, whenever I have a conversation with you, like it definitely uplifts everybody. Even when you might not even be in the best mind state, like it never seems like you're not. So big shout out to you. But folks, this isn't going to be the last time you're seeing Ty This is definitely not a goodbye. This is a big hello.
This is a hello to the future. Yes,
Hello,
sir.
Brooklyn. Ty's gonna be on the All In podcast, especially for the basketball podcast. We're gonna get a lot of people on here. Coming soon, Austin Williams.
Oh yeah, shout out my boy Austin,
Rutgers alum.
I don't know if he's an alum, but yeah, he just played there this past season. So shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so we're gonna get him back. We're gonna get him on here. We're gonna get maybe even so many other options that we can get on here.
Austin, I ain't gonna lie though. Real quick before we go, one more thing. I played him my freshman year. I first met him my freshman year at high school, and we played Seton Hall. Y'all ain't gonna lie, he had like 25 on this, bro. Austin, I'm gonna get your ass back. Like, we gotta play ones. We gotta do something, bro. Let me get your ass.
We
back.
might have to get him ones.
Nah, that nigga tough. I ain't
we
gonna
might
lie,
have to get that popping.
Listen, but he cold, and that's my dog for sure.
But we got so much content coming. Ty's gonna be having a little summer ball games. He'll be out there. He'll be mic'd up. This is the start of Hot Take Empire, and it's definitely not the finales. But thank you for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Peace out.